Guess what, everyone? It is Friday, but I don't ever want to hear you mutter the words. Thank God it's Friday because I want you to love Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single day. I want you to have fulfillment every day of the week and not simply live for nights and weekends and Fridays. I want you to stop dreading every single Monday. I want you to make a change today. I want you to break free and start living the freedom lifestyle. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I am your host, Kurt Mercadante. I'm happy you are here. Someone once asked me, what's the impact you want to have from this podcast? And I'll tell you what that is. Every so often, I get feedback from people. One guy says he walks his dog in the afternoon. And he might be having a down week. He might be having a challenging week. But when he listens to my podcast and he gets a little kick in the ass and gets it into gear, that's the impact I want to have. Someone sent me a picture the other day. He was in his Jeep listening to my podcast. He said he listens to my podcast in the morning to get a little dose of inspiration and motivation. That is the impact I want to have. But if you listen to this podcast week after week and you agree with what I'm saying and you shake your head in agreement or nod your head in agreement, but you still have yet to break free to the freedom lifestyle, I want you to go to my website right now, kurtmercadante.com, click on Freedom Course, sign up for my 30-day Freedom Lifestyle Transformation course. I want to help you break free. Over 30 days, there are 6 modules designed to help you jumpstart your lifestyle. Superpowers, vision, alignment, outcomes, and flow. Those are the Freedom 5, the 5 pillars of the freedom lifestyle. I want to help you adapt each of those 5 to your lifestyle today. And on today's episode, I talk about frames of reference. You know, I used to live for the great majority of my life in a northern climate where my frame of reference was freezing winters, lack of sunlight for like 10 months a year. And then we moved to Charleston, and my frames of reference expand. And I see what it's like to live in a subtropical climate. But also I find myself in the middle of January when it's 55 degrees complaining about how cold it is. Whereas 5 or 6 years ago, if it was 55 degrees in the middle of January, that would have been a relief. But you see, as you expand your frames of reference in life, your expectations also expand. Your knowledge of what is possible expands. And you realize what is out there. You realize what you can have. And when you start tasting the freedom lifestyle, you get a little bit of freedom. It's like blood in the water for a shark. You want more. You want to taste more. And so in today's episode, I talk about expanding your frames of reference so you can expand your expectations and expand the freedom in your life. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Freedom Club Podcast.
Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we strive to pull you out of your life of quiet desperation, out of your comfort zone of misery, and propel you into a life of freedom and fulfillment. And now, here's your host for this journey, international speaker and coach, and serial entrepreneur, Kurt Mercadante.
Today, I'd like to talk to you about frames of reference. You know, here in Charleston, it's going to be 70 today. I'm in shorts. I'm in a t-shirt. It's nice and warm. Last week, it was 83 degrees, right? And 5 or 6 years ago, we moved here. And prior to that time, we didn't know anything about having 80-degree days at the beginning of February. You know, for the vast majority of the years of my life, I lived in northern climates. I was used to feet of snow. In January, February, March, I was used to sub-zero temperatures. I was used to it, the sun not coming out from like October to March or June. I was used to it being cool. Even I worked at a pool when I was in high school, and I remember it being closed in July because it was too cold. For me, for all those years, that was my default. That was my frame of reference. You know, we would take vacations to warmer climates. We knew people who lived in warmer climates, but to us, that seemed like foreign to us. It seemed so far away. And when we moved here to Charleston, an interesting thing happened. Our frames of reference expanded. And so now in the midst of January, we'll have days in the 70s, but we'll also have several days in a row where it's 40s or 50s as a high, and it gets freezing. And our frames of reference, our default, has changed to the fact where we sit here and we whine about how cold it is, right? Oh man, we got to move further south. We're just, prior to 5 or 6 years ago, having a high in the 40s in January would have been like a relief to us. And it's the same in our lives, right? When we live so long in a default lifestyle rather than one we define, our frame of reference is very limited. And so when I talk about the freedom lifestyle, when I talk about limiting the hours you work per week, when I talk about investing in yourself and your family and your work every single day, to some people that seems foreign. It seems very far off because our frames of reference are so limited, right? So when you, and I was there for a long time, for me, the default, my frame of reference was I'm going to work till late hours of the night. I'm going to get up every morning. I'm going to do it over again. I'm not going to see my wife and kids enough, except maybe on the weekends. I'm not going to invest in my health. And to me, that was normal. That work-life balance thing was, to me, the norm. Yeah, chase that. And what that meant was, put your head down, eat shit until you're 65. Then everything's going to balance out. For me, that was my frame of reference. That was the norm. When I finally broke free and started tasting freedom, my frames of reference expanded. I knew what was possible in my life. And so I wanted more of it. I've talked a lot about the fact that I limit the hours I work each week to 12 hours. And it wasn't always that way. There was a time when I thought that was crazy, but I eliminated some hours. I got down to, 30 a week, and I kept limiting it because the more I expanded my frames of reference, my expectations increased. I wanted more and more. And so right now I'm at 12. I want to get below 10. I want to get below 8. I want to get below 5, right? So your expectations expand to meet your expanded frames of reference. So I ask you today, how can you begin to expand your frames of reference in your life? Maybe it's taking more travel. Maybe it's taking more chances. Maybe it's seeing how you can work a little less. For some of you, it may mean expanding your view of what you can do in terms of work and finding work that fulfills you. There's a lot of people who come to me who have trouble even imagining, of waving that magic wand to imagine the lifestyle they desire, because their frame of reference is so limited and so small, they can't even imagine it. They feel like they need permission to imagine something that would be more free and more fulfilling than they live it now. So I challenge you this week, start writing down, making a list of all those places in your life where you might be able to expand your frames of reference so that you can begin to increase and expand your expectations to expand the amount of freedom in your life.